Hey barbecue fans, welcome to a beautiful day on the Frankaboo Ranch. All right, so what we got today is I've got a really beautiful piece of beef tenderloin that I've been wet aging for 30 days. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna turn it into filet mignon steaks. Now this is really simple. As long as you know what you're doing, you can turn these things into filet mignon steaks, and it's gonna be cheaper than the pre-cut ones you find in the store. You can tell that this one's been wet aging because you can see the buildup in the cryovac. You can see all the nice little air bubbles coming in here. We've been wet aging this for 30 days. I only chose to do this for 30 days because I didn't exactly have the kill date on it. And 30 days is safe. I wouldn't want to go much further than that. So let's go ahead and pop the cryovac and get at it. All right, let's go ahead and pop the cryovac on this thing and get cutting up some steaks. Smells absolutely fantastic, just like I would expect it to after wet aging for 30 days. So I always like to dry it off, as you guys know. You'll see a lot of guys just take this thing and throw it right on the smoker and start cooking it. I am not a fan of doing that because this is a really high-end piece of meat, and I like to make some amazing looking steaks with it. All right, so let's go ahead and dry this thing off here. Okay, so what we have here is you guys can see all the silver skin, this really super shiny stuff under here. That's the silver skin. That's what I'm always talking about, that will block your rubs. It's super chewy. When you're eating a piece of meat and you're sitting there chewing and chewing and chewing, that's the gristle or the silver skin. So we're gonna go ahead and take all this stuff off. And you wanna get as much yield as you can out of this, because like I said, this is an expensive piece of meat. I think this one was 60 bucks. And at the end of the day, when we get done with this, we're gonna have some really amazing looking steaks. It's gonna be pretty tasty. So you wanna get yourself a really good knife. I'm using my Hammerstall beautiful boning knife here. This thing has got some really good qualities to it. It's really, really super sharp, and it holds an edge just wonderfully. And that's what you want when you're actually cutting a piece of meat. You wanna be able to get in there and just get under the silver skin. You don't want to take the meat off. You want to just take the silver skin off, just like that. Cut that stuff right off. Let's flip this around here so we can get a little bit better angle at it. Just gonna continue to take this off here. Now you've got three little pieces here on this tenderloin. You got three parts of the muscle itself. You got the little back strap that runs down the side here, which we'll be pulling off. And then you got another little piece right here so you can see where it comes together. I like to take this piece off here and use that for kebabs, whatever else you want to use it for. So we're just going to separate this right here. Let's set this right here and we'll take care of that in a minute. All right, so let's go ahead and get the rest of this stuff off here. Let's get this up here so you guys can see. I'm just getting up under the edge of the flap here, and we're gonna pull that down, get that off. All right, let's get on the front side here. Now, the reason anywhere good that you go, any of your high-end restaurants, the reason they wrap the filet mignon in bacon is because it doesn't have any fat, and you can see that. You can see it really well. It's a very lean piece of meat, so when you wrap it in bacon, it's giving it the flavor from the fat that you don't normally have, or that you don't have, that you normally have with a regular piece of steak. And later on, when we get deeper into our steak cutting videos, I'm gonna show you guys how to cut your own top sirloin. That's it. That's a little bit more of an advanced cut because it's a little bit more difficult to do, but I'll show you guys how to do it. Before you know it, you'll be a master at it. It's not that difficult. All right, let's see what we got on the backside here. I usually like to leave the backside alone. Let's just go ahead and take off these little bits here. See, everywhere there's a little piece of silver skin, I like to get that off because I don't like to be chewing and chewing and chewing on a piece of filet mignon steak when I'm eating it. This is looking pretty good. We'll leave as much of the fat on the back as we can. This is looking really good. Let's take this little bit off right here. Be careful when you got a sharp knife. I just gouged it right there. So you guys get yourselves a really good set of knives like I've got here. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. We are about ready to go ahead and start cutting this thing up. But before we do, let's take care of this guy. All right, this one's got the exact same amount of silver skin on it. This one's not so important because we're just going to slice this up into kebab meat. You can leave this on here if you want. I don't like to because this is more of the connective tissue that holds the whole thing to the bone. Got a lot of it in here. So I'm going to take that and get up under here. Let's get this little bit down here off. All right. Get rid of the ends, and you guys will see. So you can see where the tendons connect, all the heavy-duty silver skin. That's what we're trying to get rid of, and this is what you don't want on a piece of meat, or on a steak, I should say. If you can get about a 75 to 80% yield on a cut, that's a really good deal. When I was working in restaurants, cutting meat, you know, they just give me a big, huge box of meat. I'd average about 75 to 85% yield, which is pretty good. All right, so now we're just gonna slice this guy up into some decent size little chunks here for kebabs, whatever else we want to do with it. You guys have always heard me talk about the most dangerous thing in barbecue is a dull knife. Get yourself a sharp one. You can see this thing is just gliding right through the meat, and that's what you want. You do not want a dull you don't want a dull knife to where you're hacking and carving onto the meat, because that is going to cause you a ton of issues in the end. All right, so I like a nice thick filet mignon. So I'm gonna start just by squaring off the end. Square off the end. Now I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna do about here. Your end pieces are always gonna be a little bit smaller. But what you wanna remember, now looking at this piece of meat, the grain is running vertical. So the grain's running this way. So when you cook your steak, you don't want to cook it like this. You want to cook it like that, because the heat passes through. This way it kind of blocks it a little bit more. So when your steaks are all said and done, you want them looking just like that. So let's keep going here. Got another one here. And we're going to start getting a little thicker. Got a nice, beautiful steak there. Look at that one. That one's good. Really, really good here. All right. Now, like I said, I enjoy a nice thick fillet. Like that. See, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that beautiful steak. See, a little bit of marbling in there? That's a really good piece of meat. Beautiful. Fuck! Can you hold this in place, please? Now I'm gonna have to frickin', oh my God, I can't. Just hold that in place. Danny's gonna have to cut and splice this.
Okay, ready? Oh,
It's
still
still
going.
recording.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna just continue on here. We're gonna put some really nice pieces of, let's lighten this one up just a little bit. Okay. Let's take off this little edge right there. All right, now let's take it. So now we're getting into the really good ones. So when you get into the big pieces like this, you want to give the meat a little bit of a squeeze, and that holds it in place. So you wind up with a nice, even cut of meat. And I'll take off that little tiny bit right there. Okay. And then on the end, usually I just take that and turn it into a little bit of soup meat as well. silver skin, put that over there. All right. So there we have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 beautiful steaks that we can use. I'm gonna vacuum seal these. We're gonna pull them out. We're gonna do some bacon wrapped fillets. We're gonna take our nice chunks. We'll be making some high-end kebabs. We've just got about everything we can do right here. So now you guys can see it's very simple. Nothing to it. As long as you know what you're doing, it's really easy. So there you have it. This is how you turn a beef tenderloin into some gorgeous filet mignon steaks. Look at that. That's gonna be some good eating right there. All right, guys, until next time, keep on smoking it.